This is the most controversial non-controversy Batman has faced since Brian Azzarello's Penisgate for Batman Damned, and honestly, I'm here for every minute of it because it is hilarious. Welcome back, Gothamites. If you're new here, hi. I'm London, aka History of the Batman. Now, although this topic or news is about almost 2 weeks old now, I want to have a brief discussion about the whole Batman Catwoman debate about having their sex life seen in the DC animated TV show Harley Quinn, which is now streaming on HBO Max. And there are 3 big reasons why Catwoman should get hers in this little debate, really based on the media itself and Batman's own history within DC Comics. The first is, have you even seen Harley Quinn? Maybe you haven't, but I highly recommend it. Harley Quinn, developed by Justin Halpern, Patrick Schumacher, and Dean Lorey, is an R-rated, violently fantastic, hilariously dark animated show that follows Harley Quinn and her insane adventures with Poison Ivy and a cast of villains in Gotham City. Beautifully and heavily influenced by Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor's long comic book run on the Harley Quinn publication. Harley's character showcases to be deeper than the at times gory antics seen by Harley in other media. From dealing with heartache, including breaking up with the Joker, to finding the true anti-hero within herself and discovering who she is within this particular DC universe. In retrospect, it's arguably one of the best representation and presentations of the Harley Quinn character, hands down, besides, of course, Harley Quinn's co-creators Paul Dini and Bruce Timm and what they did with the character when she debuted in 1992 in the TV show Batman the Animated Series. Knowing that the TV show Harley Quinn is a violent ride enveloped in dark humor and touches upon almost every subject, including ones of a sexual nature, reading Variety's interview with co-creator Justin Halpern is both funny and a little bit complexing. Halpern says when discussing episodes from the upcoming season 3 of Harley Quinn, we had a moment where Batman was going down on Catwoman, and DC was like, you can't do that. You absolutely cannot do that. They're like, heroes don't do that. So we said, are you saying heroes are just selfish lovers? They were like, no, it's that we sell consumer toys for heroes. It's hard to sell a toy if Batman is also going down on someone. I'm sorry, how is that not hilarious to you? First of all, I understand how important selling toys and merchandise that is connected to a particular TV show or some type of media is important to the overall success of said media. I mean, there have been times within the Batman universe where actual shows were canceled due to the lack of toy sales for that particular series. But to my knowledge, as of filming this, I don't believe there's actually a particular specific toy line in connection to the Harley Quinn animated series. Now, of course, if there is some type of toy, anything that is in connection with Harley Quinn, please let me know because I want a Harley or especially a Poison Ivy. Poison Ivy and Bane are like my 2 favorite characters within the TV show. Just so good. Obviously, there are tons of different toys and collectibles of the Harley Quinn and Batman character that people constantly purchase. I mean, but I don't believe bringing up the sales and money aspect worked in this particular justification of censoring Batman and Catwoman's sexual activity within this TV show. And besides, let's face it, how long was this particular scene going to be shown for anyway? Like 5 seconds? This isn't an adult film, and I'm sure Batman giving Catwoman oral sex isn't going to take up a large portion of whatever episode this was going to be in a Harley Quinn. Like, It seems a little extreme of a response for what we're actually talking about here. Like, unless for some reason this episode is solely focusing or centered around Batman and Catwoman having sex, which I don't believe it would be. And if it is, I want to see it. But this leads to the second part of DC's response in showing this particular scene and them saying that they can't do it because heroes don't do that. Are you sure they don't? Now, on this channel, I have thoroughly explored Batman's romantic history within his 82 years of DC Comics, from the women that he wanted to marry and have shared his secret identity with, to just broads that he's just banging on the side. Like, the spectrum is large and very complex. So first of all, if you're interested in learning more about Batman's sex life, more than what we're going to touch upon in this particular video, those videos are linked in the description. They are a fun ride. Some of the more viewed videos on my small channel, which just proves that you guys are just horny. And it's fine. It's totally fine. But ever since Bruce Wayne started dating socialite Silver St. Cloud in the pages of Steve Englehart and Marshall Rogers' late 1970s arc Batman Strange Apparitions, and her basically admitting that Bruce wore her out the night before having sex with him, Batman and other Batman family characters in comics and other modern animated media have shown sexual activity in different ways without really DC blinking an eye. In comics, Bruce Wayne has actually been shown to have sex or have an actual sexual nature with several women over this last several decades. I mean, Bruce is constantly having sex with his current love interest, Selina Kyle, aka Catwoman. Bruce has had Gotham City dock sex with Black Canary in the rain with their masks on. And as we mentioned earlier, Bruce has had lots of great times with the beautiful Silver St. Cloud. Perfect example. Have you read Kevin Smith's 6-issue arc Batman the Widening Gyre? Have you? Because St. Cloud, before she's horrifically murdered by Automatopoeia, has the nickname for Bruce Double D because the first night her and Bruce were intimate, he made her orgasm 10 times and they actually had sex about 11 times. This was actually printed in a DC Comics book. What do you mean? Your heroes don't do that. What do you mean? Oh, and who could not forget the relationship that Bruce Wayne and Barbara Gordon, aka Batgirl or aka Oracle, or just the amazing character of Babs, have had with each other in both comics, the Batman Beyond DC Animated Universe, or of course now infamously seen in the 2016 animated film Batman the Killing Joke, showing that Batman and Batgirl have a sexual relationship, and then Bruce wants to kind of be a fuckboy about it and act like Babs and him having sex like shouldn't be discussed, even though she's trying to be a grown-up and said it was just sex, can we just talk about it? He's like, nah fam. It is such a mess. I think it's so funny, not only that, but the reaction that people have had to Batman and Batgirl being together. And it always makes me think about the Voices of DC panel that I did in 2016 at LA Comic-Con, where I had Kevin Conroy and Tara Strong, who voiced Batman and Batgirl within that film, discuss actually the very controversial scene of them basically having sex on the roof in that movie. And they were both like, pretty sure they're adults, so I don't see the problem. I just think everyone has their own viewpoint about it. Just kind of like this, which is why I wanted to do a video about it. Because for some reason, this whole Batman, Catwoman, being able to show certain things in the show, everybody has an opinion about it. Everyone has something to say of whether or not they should be able to show this type of sexual conduct. And some people actually don't believe that Batman should be shown having any type of sexual conduct because that's not what Batman is about. But we'll get to that in a minute. But going back to Batman and Babs, sure, most people don't really like that addition to Batman's mythos, but it did happen, and it actually happened in an officially licensed DC Comics film. And yet we have an issue with Batman and Catwoman doing something sexual in an officially licensed DC Comics animated show. I think that's where I'm like, I don't know, guys. And that movie isn't the only time Batman or Batman family characters have been seen having some type of sexual contact within shows or movies. There is, of course, the hilarious scene with Harley Quinn and Nightwing having sex in the DC animated film Batman Harley Quinn, to even the recent Batman Hush, where Bruce and Selina have been shown to have sex or are in these thralls of being together in that way in the DC animated movie. This is all officially DC licensed things. As we look at the different times that Bruce has shown to be a normal grown man that, has sex in his life with his various partners, or even the one partner that he has in both comics and in animation, this kind of notion that heroes don't do that, it's not that sound. Speaking of which, since we are talking about the fact that Bruce Wayne is a grown adult human man, that sounds so weird, but we're in the DC universe. You gotta say if someone's human or not, I suppose. Focusing on DC's argument within the response to the Harley Quinn co-creators that consumers basically can't separate Batman the hero from Batman the human, who has his own personal wants, desires, and needs, which does include at times something of the sexual nature, that consumers can't literally separate that. I think that's some old bullshit. Because A, if kids are buying Batman toys, it for sure isn't because they're watching this animated Harley Quinn series, because it is not for kids, nor is it marketed for a children audience. It's simply not. It's in the realm of adult comedic animated shows such as Rick and Morty. But basically, the Harley Quinn animated show does not fall into a children demographic. It's literally for people like me and probably you watching. So the influence of watching Batman be more mature and younger kids or a younger audience connecting that maturity to action figures, I don't believe in this case is really realistic. And B, why would you separate Batman the hero from his own humanity? That is literally one of the biggest reasons why people are so fond of the Batman and his long mythology in the first place. He's human. The whole no superpowers but is able to stand toe-to-toe with actual gods in the DC multiverse is one of the many reasons why the Batman mythos is just so fascinating to read, watch, play, and talk about. But Batman being human does mean he has normal human needs and desires, including sexual ones, which has been showcased in DC Comics media, from comics to TV to film, over the last 40 plus years, comfortably. Like, without any trouble or any, I don't know if we should print that or we should create that. And while Bruce Wayne himself has gone through his own trauma and has major trust issues and lots of other problems, his sex life, when it has been shown in whatever media, is somewhat healthy and normal. And older fans of Batman know about Bruce and his own sexual history, and toys and collectibles are still selling like hotcakes. Of course, this whole Batman and Catwoman sex scene isn't necessary in any media to really dive into what really makes Batman and Catwoman's relationship work. You just don't really need it. So I think that's why this whole controversy over a very non-issue is funny to me. However, if Batman and Catwoman's sexual life needed to be showcased for whatever plot, storyline, what have you, within DC, the perfect media and place to showcase this would actually be the media that DC rejected, and that is, of course, DC Universe's animated show, Harley Quinn. Because heroes do that. Whether or not you agree or disagree with having that part of Batman's life explored in any type of media, the fact that that is a real life connection that he has with another person, and that us as humans too experience that as well, and we can have that connection with the character. That is one of the reasons why many are drawn to the Batman character and his universe, because it is indeed very, very human. And what is better than relating to the heroes that we love to explore and celebrate on a daily basis? So in conclusion, let Catwoman get hers, please. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, please give it a bat thumbs up. What are your personal thoughts about the Batman and Catwoman scene not accepted or put into the Harley Quinn TV show? And have you watched the Harley Quinn series? It is so much fun. I absolutely love it. I definitely recommend you checking it out on HBO Max. As always, all of my social media is linked in the description below, including Instagram at History of the Batman. So why don't you give it a follow and become a Gothamite? Check out the rest of my Batman videos on this channel. And of course, please subscribe to this channel so you can become part of this Batman community. It would mean so much to me. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed talking about it. It's hilarious. And we'll have much more History of Batman soon, right here on YouTube. Remember, Gothamites, about peace, love, and Batman. Bye.